fair and free elections are something we all take for granted in this country, but we shouldn't. So before I go any further, I'd like to thank all those involved in making our elections happen all across Scotland in the last few days, and I also want to thank everybody who came out to vote in the election. The people have now spoken. The SNP has won the Scottish Parliament election, and we have won it emphatically. The people have voted for a government that is on Scotland's side, and they have voted by a landslide for a pro-independence government. The significance of this achievement for the SNP cannot be understated, nor was it by any means a certainty. When I became SNP leader 2 years ago, opinion polls suggested the SNP would win around 35 seats at this election. We were on course to lose this election, but we have just won, and the margin between the SNP and the two now joint second largest parties is bigger than at any time in the history of the Scottish Parliament. We've also won a higher share of the vote than Keir Starmer did across the United Kingdom in 2024, an election widely described as a landslide. The result is down to three things. Firstly, it is down to the incredible efforts of SNP candidates and activists all across Scotland. We never take people's support for granted, and we have all worked very, very hard for this result. In the last few weeks, our ground campaign has been nothing short of astonishing. But this victory was not built in the last few weeks. It was built on extensive doorstep engagement over months and indeed years with the people that we serve. We listen carefully to people's concerns and aspirations, and we have built our programme for government around those concerns. That government record is the second factor which I attribute to our victory. People can see the improvements that we are delivering to the NHS and to other public services, and they can feel the action we are taking on the cost of living. Put simply, in the SNP, they see that they have a government that is on their side, a government on Scotland's side. And that is the third factor in our victory. Over the last 2 years, in uncertain times, I, as First Minister, have offered everything I have to deliver experienced leadership to our country. On Thursday, the people have asked me to continue to do so, and I intend to do exactly what the people have asked of me. It is clear that the make-up of this Parliament will be considerably different to those which preceded it. Nigel Farage's Reform Party have won seats in the Scottish Parliament. While I obviously recognise that some people in Scotland support reform, there is no doubt that many of our fellow Scots will today be feeling very unsettled by the prospect of a party taking seats in the Scottish Parliament which holds such hostility to minority groups in our country. So I want to reaffirm today the commitment I made when I took office. I will build a Scotland where everyone feels seen, where everyone feels at home, and where everyone is able to contribute to Scotland's story. I believe that the vast majority of MSPs in this new Parliament share that aspiration. So my immediate commitment, as I promised during the campaign, is to ensure that Nigel Farage and Reform are locked out of governance in Scotland. I will be engaging in talks with other opposition parties in the coming days to ensure that this happens and that there can be a stable and inclusive approach to governance after the election. Although the Scottish National Party commands a significant lead in the Scottish Parliament, we do not hold a majority. There will need to be cross-party cooperation to improve the lives of people in Scotland. When it comes to that task, I am probably more experienced than any other political leader in the United Kingdom in accomplishing what is necessary in that respect. I believe that I can command a majority in Parliament for everything in the SNP manifesto, the manifesto which, after all, won the support of the people of Scotland. And of course, a key part of my discussions with other parties will be to listen to their own priorities for this new Parliament. This now brings me to the question of the referendum. There has now been a pro-independence majority in the Scottish Parliament for 4 elections in a row. This mandate has been ignored by successive Westminster Prime Ministers, Labour and Tory, year after year after year. I had hoped in this election we could break the logjam by securing the only thing that has previously actually secured a vote, which was an SNP majority. Although we've come very close to achieving that, that SNP majority has not been accomplished. But that does not change the underlying fact that despite all the attempts to stop us, for the 4th election in a row, there is a pro-independence mandate in the new Scottish Parliament. Indeed, there are now more pro-independence MSPs than at any time in the history of the Scottish Parliament. The way forward on this must be made in Scotland. The results across the UK made clear why the need for independence is so urgent. Nigel Farage is now galloping towards Downing Street, and the prospect of a reform-led government is more likely than not. The UK may well soon have a Prime Minister who is openly hostile to minority groups, who has called for the privatisation of the NHS and the abolition of the Scottish Parliament. It is vital that we unite in Scotland to ensure our Parliament is fully Farage-proofed. That means having the power before 2029 to decide our own constitutional future without Farage being able to block us. The alternative future for Scotland is as an independent country with the greater security and prosperity offered by EU membership and making our vast energy wealth work for the people of Scotland. I will have more to say on the way forward on independence in the coming days and weeks, but let me make one final reflection in my comments today. After Thursday's elections, there are now set to be First Ministers in Wales, Northern Ireland and in Scotland, all committed to fundamental constitutional change. If Westminster has not yet grasped the significance of this moment, then it certainly will come to appreciate it in the weeks and the months ahead, believe me, because the direction of travel is clear. What people in London like to refer to, rather patronisingly, as the Celtic fringe, is very much about to become centre stage. Before I take their questions, let me finish by stressing a point that I made to the people of Scotland during the election campaign. Over the last few weeks, all candidates have heard the frustration of members of the public at the cost of living and the anxiety about the uncertain world in which we live. Those lucky enough to be elected to Parliament now have a duty to address that frustration and that anxiety. Election campaigns, by their very nature, are divisive. The whole purpose is that different points of view can be aired and debated. But now that the people have spoken, as far as I am concerned, we all have to move forward together. I give you my commitment that for as long as I am First Minister, I will work every day to improve the lives of the people of Scotland and to make Scotland the better country that we all know that Scotland can be. Thank you very much.